Hi, welcome back. If you're new here, hi, I'm Liv. I'm a Colorado makeup artist and I love everything related to makeup and beauty. I am changing up the content on my page a little bit. I'm trying to add some more shorts in, so I'm focusing on like style and hair more so on my shorts and continuing the long form videos with makeup because makeup is my love here and I just really enjoy it. So be sure to check out my shorts. I'm trying to post them a little more consistently. Anyways, today I thought it would be fun to recreate my last bride's makeup look. It wasn't actually that long ago and I absolutely love the way it turned out and she was so happy and honestly just wonderful to work with. So I want to recreate her look on myself and hopefully inspire any upcoming brides who might need an idea of what they want to do for their wedding makeup. Before we get started, I would love if you would hit that subscribe button. It means so much to me and we'll get going. I don't have all of the products that I carry in my kit in my personal collection, so I'm going to use some different products, but I'm going to try to keep the colors the same. And of course, we did do some skin prep before going in with primer and makeup, but I'm going to leave that part out for now because I already did my own skincare. But we did start with the Milk Pore Eclipse mattifying primer. She does have combination skin, so we moisturize pretty well. Then we place this towards the center of her features. This is one of the products that I have in my personal collection because it works really well for me, and because it works so well for me, it is one that I bought a second one to carry in my kit because of how well it works. The Makeup Forever HD Skin Liquid Foundation is my most popular in my kit. It's also the foundation I wore for my own wedding, so I do have my own shade. This is one of those foundations that just works really well with literally every single skin type. You can have dry skin, you can have oily skin, combination, balanced, all the above. This foundation works with everybody, and it's really easy to sheer out if you want like a light coverage, and it's also really easy to build up if you want a more full coverage. Typically, I kind of go in that mid-range for coverage-wise on brides. That way, they're getting a little bit more of an enhanced look. I do the same things with my brides as I personally do, where I apply foundation and concealer and bronzer, blush, the works, all with a brush. And then I will go over everything with a sponge to help make sure it blends out. For concealer, I did use a little bit of color correcting for her. She had some blue under her eyes. She does have fair skin like myself, so I'm going to be using a pink corrector. I have a color correcting palette by Makeup Forever, so that is specific to my kit, which is why I'm using my Becca under eye brightener to correct. I also used a Makeup Forever concealer for her, so I'm just going to use my Charlotte Tilbury Radiant Concealer. I am actually starting to really like this concealer. I just feel like I have to dip into the bottle a lot. But that's okay. And then I'm just going to blend it out with a brush. And then I just take my sponge to blend it all out even more. Make sure we're buffing out any creases. The Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpting Sticks are the actual bronzers, the cream bronzers that I keep in my kit. However, I do have my own personal one because I tested it out first before I bought them all for my kit. So I'm in the shade light medium, but I believe I used light on my bride. And then we sculpted out the cheeks, the forehead, and we also did a little under the jaw here. And then of course we went around all the edges and made sure it was nice and blended. For her blush, I used the Rare Beauty Soft Pinch Liquid Blush in the shade Hope, which I don't personally have in my collection. So I'm just going to be using the Makeup by Mario Soft Pop Blush Stick. This is in the shade Pale Petal. This is a bit more pink. I feel like that Rare Beauty shade Hope kind of leans mauve-y, but it's still pink. But I just don't have it in my personal collection, so I'm going to leave it in my kit and leave it sanitized. And we're just going to use this color. And then, of course, we're going to go over with our sponge. I use Laura Mercier Translucent Loose Setting Powder for my bride, and I keep that one specifically in my kit, and I do not have a personal one at all. So I'm going to set my under eyes with my Givenchy powder. So I'm just going to use this to set my under eye. And originally when I started doing makeup, I gave everybody their own personal puff, specifically to set their under eyes like this. But I have recently figured out that if you just use like a fluffy, small eyeshadow brush, it works a little bit better to set under eyes. So that's how I'm doing that now. And then I put the puff in the touch-up kit because I put powder in the touch-up kit that I leave with brides. And that way they still have a way to apply their powder. So I'm only going to use that for the under eyes. And then I'm going to use my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless powder. This is a pressed powder. And I'm doing it this way because we very lightly set the rest of her face. We put more emphasis on the under eyes and then just took a big brush similar to this one to set the rest of her face because she is oily, but the outskirts of her face leaned a little more dry. And we also didn't use another like powder bronzer and another powder blush. We only used those 2 cream products for her. And if you set your makeup with a heavier sort of powder, typically you have to go over those again with powder products. And then I do have the popular Dior highlighting quad in my kit. Unfortunately, I don't have one in my personal collection because, you know, it's Dior, it's kind of pricey. But we used the 2 top shades. So one leans a little more white and one leans a little more like champagne-y. So I'm actually going to mix a couple highlights. I'm going to mix my highlight from Makeup by Mario. This is in the shade Pearl. So this is kind of the more white shade. And then I'm going to mix a little bit of the Sunscape highlight from M Cosmetics in the shade Clarity. This one is a little bit more of the champagne color. And then we just applied it to the high points of her cheeks and a little down the center of her nose and the tip of her nose. And that's how we did her face. So kind of a very light face. She wanted her eyes to pop more, so that's exactly what we did. And I'll show you how to do the eyes. I'm going to set my face with my Charlotte Tilbury, but I have the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray in my kit. For her eyes, I use the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion in my kit. Currently, my personal one is empty, so I'm going to be using my Rare Beauty Primer. So to complete the eye look, we need a dark brown, a light brown, a black, and like a light shimmery shade. So I have the Makeup by Mario Master Mattes and Master Metallic palettes in my kit. So I'm going to leave them in there. We're not going to use those today. But I did happen to find a palette that actually has all of those colors in it. Unfortunately, this particular palette is discontinued. I'm going to be using my Tati Beauty Texture Neutral palettes. But basically what we needed is a light matte, a dark matte, a black matte, and then a light shimmer shade. This palette just happened to have all the colors I needed, but honestly, those are the colors. Like a light brown matte, a dark brown matte, a black matte, and a light shimmery shade, kind of like cream colored. That's all you need to create this look. This palette is discontinued, but you don't specifically have to have this palette. If you've got the Makeup by Mario Master palettes, those are the ones I actually used. So the first color we're going to go into is this one here. This is called Soothe, and it's the light brown matte. And I actually like to start with the light shade in the crease area. And I just build it up till I'm comfortable with it. It doesn't have to be super pretty right now, because we'll do a bunch of blending once we have all the colors down. Next, I'm going to go into this shade. This is called Ritual, and it's the dark brown matte. And we took this shade and packed it over the entire lid and took it up to that crease. So basically you just pack on that darker shade across the entire lid, and then I'm going back into my fluffier brush that we used that transition shade on, the lighter brown, and I'm just blending the 2 shades together. And at this point I haven't picked up any more of the light brown shade, but if you need to really blend those 2 colors together, you absolutely can. So now I'm going to take like a flat kind of stamping brush, and we're going to dip into the black shade. This is a matte black. It's called Memory. And I'm just going to stamp it on that brush and press it right up against the lash line to kind of create a eyeshadow liner. When we did our trial, we actually used like a darker brown eyeliner. It just wasn't the vibe that she was going for. It was a little too much. So for the actual wedding day, we just took a shadow. And the point of doing this is that we could hide the false lashes. And then I took another flat brush and we went into a light kind of cream colored shimmer. This shade is called Aura in the Metallic, which is the exact palette that I have. It's the Master Metallics palette from Makeup by Mario. But I just took a little bit on a flat brush and we did a light dusting because during her trial we used more of a glitter and it wasn't the vibe. It just gives like a shine if you tilt your head, but it's not like shine right in your face. That was the look that she was going for. And I think this look turned out to be beautiful for her. And it worked really well on her eye shape. Now I'm using a small brush and I picked up the darker brown shade called Ritual and I placed that on the outer third of her lower lash line and made sure to connect it to the top. And then I dipped into the lighter brown shade, honestly using the same brush, and placed that on the rest of her lower lash line and blended it into the darker shade. And then for the inner corner highlight, I actually used the Dior palette and I took the more champagne-y color and placed that in her inner corner. So I'm just using the Sunscape highlight because that was the more champagne-y color that we mixed earlier. And these are the eyes that we created. So a little more eye focused than face focused, but I'm gonna put on some mascara and then put on false lashes. I am just going to use some that I have on hand here, but we actually used individual lashes for her. So we used 3 12mm lashes on the outer portion of her eye, and then we did 2 10mm lashes, and then we did 2 8mm lashes towards the inner portion of her eye. And these are individual, so they do take a little bit longer to apply, but they worked out perfectly for this bride. Obviously, when you apply lashes with the whole lash band, if you're not used to wearing them, they can be quite uncomfortable, and she was really worried about being uncomfortable feeling that lash band throughout the day, and individual lashes are a really great way to like ex-nay that kind of fear because you don't feel them at all. They do take longer to apply, of course, but it worked out perfectly. They were perfect for this bride. However, I don't have individual lashes in my own collection, so I'm just going to be using these strip lashes. Okay, so here are some lashes. I have the Ardell 420 Wispy lashes on. Hers were not quite this floofy, but they did add a little extra oomph. And the black shadow liner definitely hid the lashes, which was the main goal here. But these are kind of what the eyes looked like. A little less lash, but still very beautiful. And then for her brows, I don't have the brow powder that I have in my kit in my personal collection. Not to mention, she had wonderfully sculpted and filled in brows already, so I didn't have to fill them in very much. And then we used the ABH Brow Freeze to set them, which I also don't have in my personal collection. So I just used my Benefit Gimme Brow to do my brows, and I used my own lashes, but basically, these are her eyes. For her lips, we used the Rare Beauty lipstick in the shade Creative. Now, I also love the Rare Beauty lip liners and lipsticks personally, so I have my own collection of them, but I also have like a separate set for my kit. Like, I don't mix them. So this is mine personally, and this is the lip liner in the shade Creative. So I just filled in my entire lips with this shade. I've seen other YouTubers talk while applying lip liner, and I've not mastered the skill, so I apologize. You get the before and after. And then I'm going to take the same shade in the lipstick and apply it over this, like double duty of the color. Obviously, the Rare Beauty lip liners and lipsticks are matte, and she didn't want a completely full matte, so we used a Scott Barnes lip gloss to just add a little bit of hydration and shine right in the center of her lips. I believe it's in the shade French Vanilla. I don't have it personally in my own collection. I bought them specific for my kit, but I'm going to go ahead and use my Huda Beauty Silk Balm lip gloss. And it just gave a little shine and a little bit of hydration because these products are very matte. And this is the finished look on how we created my last bride's wedding makeup. I think she turned out absolutely beautiful. I know she was happy. I was happy. That bride in general was just so wonderful to work with during the trial and on her wedding day. She was so cool and calm and just really happy and grateful that someone was there to do her makeup, which is just like a feel-good moment for me. I really appreciate when brides are like, I'm so happy you're here. I didn't have to worry about this part. So it just makes my job more fun. It makes me appreciate what I do more, and it just makes me feel good that I was able to give some sort of calmness back to my brides. So if you are a bride-to-be and when you need makeup services, I leave my email in the description below, so you can reach out to me that way if you'd like to, if you're interested, or if you just needed some inspiration. This is literally how I did someone's makeup for their wedding. So I hope it helps you get some ideas, and if you like it, it's super easy to do. That is all from me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you did, because I can definitely recreate my bride's makeup as I go through the weddings. So if you like this style of video, let me know and I can definitely recreate all the looks that I do. This was really fun for me anyway, so if you really enjoy it, I would be happy to do more as my weddings progress throughout each year. Other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, thumbs up, comment if you have any questions. I appreciate all the feedback and interaction, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.